Good morning, students. So we begin with our today's session. In today's session, we are going to look into another variety of instructions, which is call and return instructions. These are the variety of program branching instructions. These instructions are associated with functions. Functions is the name given for the programs in high level language like C, Java. Whereas in case of assembly programming, in case of microcontrollers, microprocessor, whenever we are doing assembly program, functions are called as subroutines or service routines. Okay, so what is a subroutine? Subroutine is a set of instructions which are required frequently by the program. So instead of writing it in the main program repeatedly, the same set of instructions, instead of writing it repeatedly in the main program, it is written at a separate memory location, and those set of instructions are called whenever required by the main program. So those set of instructions are executed with the help of call instructions. So we have two varieties of call instructions, A call, which is an absolute call, and L call, which is a long call. Correct? So call instructions are used so that the microcontroller executes the subroutine. Correct? Now the other two instructions are return, RET and RETI. These are the two instructions which are written at the end of the subroutine, and these two instructions are used to exit the subroutine. Right? So whenever these two instructions get executed, microcontroller exits the subroutine and returns back to the main program. Okay, so A call, L call, RET return and RETI. These four instructions are in the category of program branching instructions. Mean microcontroller is going to stop the current execution, branch to some other location, execute that subroutine program, and when the return instruction gets executed in the subroutine, it branches back to the main program and continues with the main program execution. Correct? Now absolute call, A stands for absolute call. How is the format? Before looking into the format, see, the instruction is absolute call and the other instruction is L, long call. Now these two call instructions are unconditional call instructions. Mean when microcontroller executes the call instruction, it has to jump to the subroutine, execute the subroutine and come back. Okay, like we had jump instructions J, Z, J and Z, that is conditional jumps, and JMP was an unconditional jump. Similarly here call, these A call and L call are unconditional call. Correct? So microcontroller is going to execute the subroutine which is written ahead. Okay, now how is the format of this call instruction? See here, A call and mention an 11-bit address of the subroutine. Why 11-bit address? Because it's an absolute call. So absolute call has a limitation of memory range, right? So absolute call, it is expected that the subroutine should be written within the 2 KB memory where the call instruction is written. Correct? So that's the name absolute. Like we had absolute jump, short jump, long jump and absolute jump. Similarly, in case of absolute call, the subroutine should be written within the memory space of 2 KB. Which memory space? Particularly where this A call is written. So within the space of where the A call is written, within the 2 KB memory space, the subroutine should be available. Okay. So 2 KB memory, 2 raised to 11 is 2K. So the subroutine address, it is expected that the subroutine address should be of 11 bits. Hence the format of instruction is like this: A call and mention the 11-bit address of the subroutine. Okay, because there is a range restriction. The subroutine should be within 2 KB memory space. So A call and mention an 11-bit subroutine address. It is a 2 by 2 machine cycle. Now it's a program branching instruction. See, all these four are, hence the time taken to execute will be 2 machine cycles. Okay. So ACALL is a 2-byte instruction. Correct. The second one is LCALL. LCALL is long call. It means from the name itself, the subroutine can be written in any memory location within 64 KB memory. 64 KB program memory, that is a maximum program memory that can be interfaced to microcontroller. Correct. So LCALL instruction is, what does it expect? The subroutine can be written at any memory location within 64 KB memory, program memory. So it is expected that mention the 16-bit address of the subroutine in the instruction. So LCALL is a long call. Format is LCALL 16-bit address of the subroutine. It is a 3-byte instruction. Correct. 8-bit address lower upper and the opcode, hence 3-byte instruction, and time taken for execution is 2 machine cycle. Is that fine? And return RET, it is the end instruction of the subroutine. So microcontroller will exit the subroutine when that return gets executed. It is a 1-byte 2 machine cycle again. So it is branching from subroutine, microcontroller comes back to the main program. So that's again a branching instruction. Okay. RETI, that's again return from interrupt. Okay, see, we had seen about interrupts. What does interrupt do? Whenever an interrupt arrives on microcontroller stops the current execution, jumps to the interrupt vector address, executes the subroutine at that vector address, and returns back to the main program. Isn't that right? So then the last instruction of interrupt service routine should be RETI, return from interrupt. We will see the detail explanation, the difference between RET and RETI when we study those instructions in detail. Okay. So RET and RETI are again program branching instructions. The branching is taking place from subroutine back to the main program. So both are 1-byte and 2 machine cycle instructions. Okay. So call is used to execute the subroutine or to jump to the subroutine, and return is used to exit from the subroutine. Okay, students. Now any of this instruction does not affect any of the flags. So none of the flags are affected. Okay. What gets affected? It is a program counter that gets affected. See, whenever there is a jump, what is it? The jump is happening in the program memory. Program counter stores the address of program memory, the instruction which is to be executed next. Okay. So all this call and the return instructions are going to modify program counter, as well as they are going to modify the stack memory. Okay. This is something new. Stack memory is also going to be modified. So as I said somewhere in between, what is call? Call instruction is going to make microcontroller to jump to execute an subroutine. So call and jump are similar, right? There is a bit similarity, but where is the difference? The jump happens within the main program. Correct? JMP, SJMP, LJMP, JZ, JNZ, all these jump instructions are going to jump forward or backward in the main program. Correct? Whereas call is going to jump away from the main program, execute the subroutine program, and come back to the main program. There is the difference. Okay, so call is similar to jump, but where is the jump? Away from the main program. Is that okay? So we are going to see these instructions in detail. Okay, so let us okay, just a bit explanation. So call instructions are used to execute the subroutine, or microcontroller jumps to the subroutine to execute it. Subroutines are also called as service routines in assembly language program. In high level language we call them as functions. Okay. So henceforth we will be using the term subroutine or service routine. Right. If the subroutine executed is because of interrupt, then that is called as interrupt service routine or interrupt subroutine, ISR. Okay, due to interrupts. The function is due to interrupts. It's called ISR. And RET is used to exit the subroutine and come back to the main program. Microcontroller returns to the main program. and RETI is specifically used to exit ISR, return from interrupt. Okay. So now let us look into how does microcontroller interact between the main program and the subroutine program. Okay, and whom do you call a main program? Okay, so let us see the interaction, how the microcontroller interacts between the main program and the subroutine. Now whenever we reset microcontroller starts to execute, program counter is loaded with 0, 0, 0. So when we reset microcontroller, program counter is cleared and it starts executing from that location 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, and that is the reason we said we always originate our program at 0, 0, 0 hex. So the program which begins at 0, 0, 0 is called as a main program, because by default microcontroller is going to execute the program written at 0, 0, 0, 0 hex. Okay, and then at this we write an short jump instruction with some label, and then with the same label we start executing the program. Okay, so the program which begins at 0, 0, 0 is called as a main program. Fine, students. Now what is a subroutine? A program which is written at some other location. The starting instruction of the program is not 0, 0, 0. Okay, some other address. That's a subroutine. Okay, and the last instruction of the subroutine is RET. Fine. So now let us look into, by default microcontroller is executing the program written at 0, 0, 0, right, which we are calling it as a main program. The first instruction executed is MOV A, #12. Right, some random things have been written just to explain how that call instruction works. Okay, and now at 77FF in the main program we have written long call instruction, lcall, and that is the 16-bit subroutine address. So that 16-bit subroutine address is A5FC. Okay, so there is one long call instruction, long call, and the 16-bit subroutine address. And where is this instruction written? At 77FF. Okay, so what does call instruction do? Okay, right, what all operations happen internally while microcontroller is executing the call instruction? The first thing happens is microcontroller obtains the return address of the main program. Okay, microcontroller obtains the return address, RETURN, return address of the main program, and saves it on stack. What is a return address? The instruction written next to call. So after call, what have we written? ADD A, R5. Okay, so where is that ADD A, R5? It is at address 7802. Why the address is 7802? Because that long call is a 3-byte instruction. Mean to save this instruction, we require 3 memory locations. So 77FF plus 1 is 7800. So 3 locations ahead, 7800, 7801, 7802. So the next instruction will be written at 7802. And this 7802 is called the return address of the main program. Correct? And this return address is saved on stack. Okay. So when microcontroller is executing call instruction, the first thing that happens internally is obtain the return address, save the return address on stack, then jump to the subroutine address, that is A5FC, execute the subroutine, and when return instruction is arrived, microcontroller comes back to the main program. Where does it come back? It pops the return address from stack and it comes back correctly to the next instruction, to the instruction ADD A, R5. It comes back to the instruction after the call. Okay, so how does it understand that it has to come to 7802? See, this 7802, before going to the subroutine, this 7802 was saved on the stack. Okay, so this address was saved on stack memory. Microcontroller went to the jumped to the subroutine, executed the subroutine, and when that return instruction was executed, what is this return instruction going to do? Take 7802, pop this return address and load it in program counter, and that's how it returns back to 7802 instruction. And once it returns back to the main program, it goes on with the execution of main program. Is that okay? That's how there is interlinking between main program and the subroutine. Okay, so just let me revise that. See, what did we say? The linking microcontroller, how does it link between the main program and the subroutine? Lcall instruction is written at 77FF. So while executing long call, microcontroller will first find out the return address, that is 7802, address of the instruction next to call. It will save that 7802 address on stack, which we call it as return address, then jumps to the subroutine which is mentioned, A5FC, that address is mentioned in the instruction, execute the subroutine, and when the return instruction is executed, pop that 7802 from stack and come back to the main program. Microcontroller returns to the main program, and then continues executing the main program. So that's the interaction happening. That's the main program and the subroutine interaction done by microcontroller. Okay, students. So now let us see call instruction in detail. So let us start with absolute call, A call. Okay. Now how is the format? A call and mention an 11-bit address of the subroutine. By now 11-bit address indicating there is a limitation on the range where the subroutine is to be written. The subroutine should be within 2 KB memory space from this call instruction. Okay, so 2 KB memory, 2 raised to 11 gives 2048 memory locations, that is 2048 addresses. So that is rounded up to 2K, 2000. So it means that address should be of 11 bits. So when I say 11 bits, 11 bits starting to zeros and all 11 bits ending with 1111. So the address range comes to be 000 to 7FF. Okay. If I write it in 4 bits, then 4 zeros to 07FF. So that's the address range for absolute call. Okay. Now an example is given. See here, A call and one 11-bit address of subroutine is given, 5FC hex. Okay, so 5FC hex is an 11-bit address of the subroutine. It is a 2x2 machine cycle. Okay, now you all will ask, this is 5FC, it's an 11-bit number. How come the instruction is of 2 bytes? Okay, so if you all remember, when we saw absolute jump, right, absolute jump, also we write jump instruction, A jump, and we write an 11-bit address. So what did we do there? Of that 11-bit address, lower 8-bit address is 1 byte of the instruction, and the upper 3 address bits, that is A8, A9 and A10, the upper 3 bits are clubbed with the opcode. Hence the second byte is the opcode, and that's how it becomes a 2-byte instruction. Okay, I will see it ahead. I have mentioned it ahead. Okay, now what all operations happen internally while executing the call instruction, we just saw now, return address, jump and all those. So that's what we are going to see. So while executing A call instruction, these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps happening internally to execute A call instruction. Okay, so what does first happen? Obtain the return address of main program. So A call is a 2-byte instruction. So what is the return address? The instruction written next to call. So since A call is of 2 bytes, mean this instruction will require 2 memory locations. The next instruction will be written 2 locations ahead. So hence it is PC plus 2. Program counter is showing where the call instruction is written. The next instruction will be 2 locations ahead. So PC plus 2. That's how we get a return address. Okay. So here the program counter is having the return address of the main program. Now this return address is to be saved on stack. Okay students. Now stack memory, do you all remember? The internal 128 byte RAM memory itself acts as a stack memory. Okay. Now stack memory begins from 7 hex. Hope you all remember this. Right. So the internal RAM memory itself, part of that itself acts as a stack. Stack is a sequential access memory. Fine. And how is it? Last in, first out. Okay, so remember that. Now the return address is to be saved on stack. Right. The return address is in program counter. Program counter is 16-bit, whereas a stack memory is of 8-bit. At a time, we can only save 8-bit data on stack. Okay. So then how is 16-bit return address saved on stack? It is done one after the other. Okay. So the first thing is obtain the return address PC plus 2. Next, now the return address is to be saved on stack. So if you remember students, whenever we want to save data on stack, that is push data on stack, stack pointer first increments and then the data is written. If I want to do the second write operation, again the stack pointer increments by 1 and at that new location the data is written. So saving on stack, increment the stack first and then save the data. The same thing happens here. Okay. So for saving the return address, increment the stack pointer by 1. So SP what is it? Stack pointer. Stack pointer holds the address of stack memory. By default the address is 7 hex. Okay. So that stack pointer address is first incremented by 1. SP is SP plus 1. So now the new address is 8 hex. And at this new address, the lower program counter is saved. Okay, 8-bit is saved at a time. So lower address is saved on the new stack memory location. Again the stack pointer is incremented by 1. SP is SP plus 1. And at this new location, the higher address is saved. Correct? Right? So first obtain the return address, then save, increment the stack, save the lower address, again increment the stack, save the higher return address. And now program counter gets copied with the 11-bit address which is mentioned in the instruction. Okay, what is that 11-bit address? 5FC. So see here it is written in binary. 5 is 101, F is 4 times 1 and C is 1100. So that's 5FC. So that's an 11-bit address which is there in the instruction. It's a subroutine address. Okay, but then program counter is 16-bit. Okay, you have mentioned 11 bits. So what about the remaining 5 bits? The remaining 5 bits are kept as it is of that program counter. Okay, what was program counter having? Program counter was having the return address. From that return address, the upper 5 bits are kept as it is and the lower 11 bits are copied from the address mentioned in the instruction. That's how a new 16-bit subroutine address gets generated. Okay students, right? That's how microcontroller will jump to this new subroutine address. Fine. Now let us take a more explanation about exactly writing the addresses for the call instruction. Okay, so that it will be more clear understanding. So look into the left hand side of your screen. We are writing absolute call instruction and that 5FC is the subroutine address. So while executing call, what all operations happen internally? First is PC plus 2, obtain the return address. Then increment the stack pointer by 1, save the lower return address. Again increment the stack pointer by 1. SP is SP plus 1, and save the higher return address. Program counter 15 down to 8. And then load. Now the program return address is saved. Load the program counter with the subroutine address. Okay. So let us assume that ACALL instruction is written at 0100. Okay, this is the main program address 0100. This is where ACALL is written, and the subroutine is at 5FC, that's at 11-bit address of the subroutine. Okay, so the first thing happening is obtain the return address. PC is PC plus 2. What is program counter? 100. So what will be PC plus 2? Program counter will show 102 hex. So this is the return address which is required to be saved on stack. Okay, so the first thing happened is obtain the return address. Right? Now this return address is to be saved on stack. So first increment the stack by 1, stack pointer by 1. By default SP is 7. So SP plus 1, stack pointer will become 8. So that's the new stack address. At this address, save the lower program counter. So 0102, lower program counter is 02. So save this lower return address to the stack memory pointed by SP. Okay. So half of the return address is saved on stack. Now again increment the stack pointer by 1. SP is 8. 8 plus 1 will become 9. So new address of stack is 9. And at this new address, save program counter higher. What's the higher address? Return address 01. So this program counter higher address is saved onto stack memory pointed by SP. And now load the program counter with the 11-bit address. So see here, what is the address? Program counter address. The recent address in program counter was 0102. Okay, students, the recent address was 0102. So if I write that into, see, if I write that into binary, okay, so I was here. So if I want to write this 0102 into binary, so let me write it here. Let me write it here. 0, so this is 1 2 3 4 0 space, that is 1 space 0 1, and again 0 space and again 0. Okay, so what have I written here? What is this? 0100 in hexadecimal. Okay, 1 2 3 4. So what have I written here? 0100, this is hex, and on the other side this is binary. Okay, so what am I doing this? Just to show you all, see what are the upper 5 bits. The upper 5 bits do not change. So what are the upper 5 bits? All the upper 5 bits are 00s, and only the lower 11 bits, these lower 11 bits get changed. Are you getting me? And what is this lower 11 bits? 5FC. What are the upper 5 bits? 000. And that is the reason the new address generated is 05FC. Okay, so just let me come back. Okay, so the new address, hope you all understood this. Just a minute. So the new address generated is 05FC. Why? Because the recent program counter, the upper 5 bits were 000. So that's the new subroutine address. Okay, I want to tell you all, we will go to one more instruction, one more example, just to make you understand why is the program counter return address important. Okay, so again the same example, absolute call. Okay, but now that call instruction is written at 77FF. Okay, students, Where is that call instruction written? The main program address is 77FF and the subroutine address is 5FC, 11-bit subroutine address. Okay, so see what all things. Now what is the return address? Current program counter is 77FF. 77FF plus 2 will be 7800, 7801. So PC is PC plus 2. So what is PC? 7801. So that's the return address. That's the return address. This is to be saved on stack. So SP is SP plus 1. Stack pointer is 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. So the new address of stack memory is 8. At this new address, store the program counter lower. So 01, that's the lower program counter saved on stack memory pointed by SP. Again increment the stack pointer by 1. So SP will become 9. And now the higher program counter address is saved. So 78 is saved in stack. And now see what are the upper 5 bits. What are the upper 5 bits? 7, 7. So 7 is 0111. And there's again 7. So 0111. So the upper 5 bits are 0110. Are you getting me? So the upper 5 bits, if I think of writing here, students, so I just write it here. Okay, so if I think of, hope I will not, yeah, if I think of writing what is 77FF, so 0111, that is 7. This is 0111, 7, and then FF 1 2 3 4 times 111 and 4 times 111. So my point was the upper 5 bits. See the upper 5 bits. See the upper 5 bits. I'm just turning them black. What are the upper 5 bits? 011110. Whereas the lower 11 bits, will be copied with the address mentioned in the instruction 5FC. Okay, so let me change that. The lower 11 bits will be changed. So 5, 101, 5. Then that is F, 1111. And then that is C, 1100. Okay, so the point was these are the bits coming from the subroutine address 5FC, whereas the upper 5 bits remain the same. So eventually, see what address got formed. The address formed was, the subroutine address formed was 75F. Okay. 7801. I am sorry. This should be 7. Okay, let me write the return 8. So 7 8. Okay, so what was the current program counter? The current program counter was, let me write it again, 7 8 0 and 1 0 0 0 1. Okay, so this was the current program counter address, 7801. Now what happens? Only the lower 11 bits change. So the lower 11 bits are going to change. Okay, what are the lower 11 bits? These bits will be removed and 5FC will be loaded there. So what are my that 11 bits? 5. So that is 101, that is 5. Then F, so 4 times 1, 1 1 1 1 F, and C. So C is 1100. Okay, so see here students, what is the new subroutine address generated? The new subroutine address is 0111 is 7, 1101 is 13, that is D, 4 times 1 is F, and 1100 C. So that's how the new subroutine address, what is it? 7DFC. Hope you all are able to see that. Okay. So what is that new address that has been created? 7DFC. Hope you all have got that. Okay. So the recent program counter was 7801. Out of that, the upper 5 bits were kept as it is, and the lower 11 bits were replaced by the subroutine address 5FC, 5101, F 1111 and C 1100. So what is the program counter status is very important. Fine. In my earlier example, the upper 5 bits were 000. Okay, the upper 5 bits were 000, so it didn't matter much. Okay, the subroutine address came as same as the address mentioned in the instruction, but in this case the subroutine address came as 7DFC, but what was mentioned in the instruction? 5FC. Okay, so the actual subroutine is written at 7DFC. This is where microcontroller will jump to execute the subroutine. Hope you all have got this, students. Okay. Okay. So, right. So that was related to absolute call. Now let us look into how is that stack getting affected by this absolute call instruction. How is the stack getting affected? So we will take that example of 77FF. This is the program memory address where we have written call, and call is to the subroutine 5FC. Okay. Now look at the right hand side. This is the stack memory, and by default the stack pointer is showing 7 hex. This is from where the stack memory begins, and it goes on growing upwards, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C up to 7F. The last stack location is the end location of internal RAM, 7F. Okay. So the first thing that is going to happen is obtain the return address. PC is PC plus 2, so the return address is 7801. Save the return address on stack. So for that, what will happen? Stack pointer will first increment by 1. So SP is SP plus 1. So what is the new address? 8 hex. So SP is SP plus 1, 8 hex. Okay. Now at this new stack address, program counter lower is going to be stored. So what is that program counter lower? 01. Lower address is saved. Now what is it done? At this new location 01 is saved, lower return address. Now next, again the stack pointer increments by 1. SP is SP plus 1. So the new address of stack is 9. So what is the new stack address? 9 hex. And at this new address, higher return address is saved. So program counter higher is 78. So the higher address is saved on stack. Okay, what is saved on stack? 78 hex. Okay, now the saving the return address is completed, right? Program counter has been stored on stack. Now load the program counter with the subroutine address, and as I told you all, what is the subroutine address? 7DFC. So this is the subroutine address that gets loaded into program counter. That's how the stack gets modified. Is that okay? So where is this at the end when the call got executed? Where is your stack pointer? To the last filled information. What was the last filled information? 78 hex. So where is the stack pointer currently? The stack pointer will point to 78 hex. Mean the stack address is 9. Okay, students. So hope you all have got this, students. That's how the stack gets modified. That's how the program counter gets modified. Okay. And what while executing absolute call, what is happening internally? Obtain the return address, save the return address on stack, and then load the subroutine address into program counter. Fine, students. Okay, hope you all have understood this, right? And now one more point I just want to tell you all. See, now if I start using this stack memory, where is the stack memory starting from? 7 hex, right? Now 7 hex is also the address of register R7, right? Hope you all remember the internal memory organization of 8051 microcontroller. The memory begins with 00 and the last location is 7F. So the initial memory, we have 4 banks: bank 0, bank 1, bank 2, bank 3. So 00 to 7 hex is bank 0, right? And that 7 hex is nothing but register R7. Beyond 7 is bank 1. Okay, so then now what are we doing? We are overlapping the stack memory with the bank 1 memory. Okay, that 7 location is nothing gets modified at 7 hex, because while writing on stack first increments and then the data gets written. So that 7 hex location remains unchanged, safe, so that bank 0 R7 register does not get disturbed. Okay, that's good, that's good. But bank 1 and the stack memory are getting overlapped. I cannot use bank 1 registers now, because that has been used as a stack memory. Okay, are you getting me? So then how to solve this problem is, right, always whenever we are dealing with call instructions, call, return or interrupts, we always ensure that the stack is kept at a safe memory location and we are able to use all the bank registers. So the stack memory is always allotted at the end locations of internal RAM. Okay, means beyond 50 hex, beyond 60 hex is where we initialize the stack memory. Okay, so always keep this in mind. Whenever in the program you write call, you write return, or whenever you are using interrupts, the first instruction in your main program is initializing the stack pointer. Right, initializing the stack pointer mean what will you do? You will simply write one instruction. Okay, I'll just show it to you here. I will show it, let me show it here. You will simply write an instruction mov sp comma hash, so let me say 50 hex. I am starting my stack memory from, okay, hope you all are able to see this. Just let me complete it. So see here, see the last instruction mov sp comma hash 50 hex. This should be the very first instruction. Oh, I should not have written here. I'll just change the, where should I have be writing this? I should have been writing it as a first instruction and then I will write the call. Okay, so hope you all are able to see it now. The very first instruction is initializing the stack memory mov sp comma hash 50 hex. It means now my stack memory begins from 50, 51, 52 so on up to 7F. Okay, so this saving the return address and this everything will happen at locations 50 onwards, and my now bank memory is safe. There will be no overwriting happening. I can use all the 4 banks and I can use all those 4 sets of registers safely. Okay, so always remember to initialize the stack pointer and then write call, return or then use interrupts. Okay students, so I'll stop here for today. Right, thank you for attending and see you all in the next session. Okay students, so bye and thank you for attending.